we could develop some alternatives from the 400, 200, 100 charge scheme. You know, we could look at some other revenue neutral schemes to see. I don't know if the committee would prefer to see something in the order of 300, 300, 200 or something of that nature.
Well, one of the things I've considered is that if the kid's going to play, charge the same for every sport for every season. In other words,
200, 200, 200.
Yeah, if you're going to, well, whatever it is.
Well, that,
I
but
mean,
see,
if you're
yeah.
going to play, you're going to pay 200. If you're going to play another sport, you're going to pay 200. Whatever it is, rather than hitting somebody that's only playing one sport, and this might be cross country, but it happens to be the one sport, so you're paying 400.
You'd have to look at the revenue impact though of that. too.
No, but I'm saying just decide what your budget is, and then charge 200 per participant per season.
Certainly other models would be
Sure.
worth
Yeah.
considering, because I don't see them going away anytime soon, and there does seem to be an inequity in the cost for some programs.
Right.
You know, spring track, there were some 60 kids at awards night, and they're all paying enormous fees, and they don't all have the same participation level, and the program doesn't cost what some of the other programs
I know,
cost.
that's really a philosophical.
But that is a
discussion.
philosophical thing, and not only that,
It
but then you
is.
have to calculate, some of those kids also playing football, and if they are, doesn't it somewhat balance out?
Yeah.
So it's, to me, I
Well, we
think
can
that's a
figure out whether it
slippery slope.
balances out. We
Yeah.
have those numbers, you can go back years and figure out
But
if
what you
that's
do then
actually
is you
true
discourage
historically.
participation, you're gonna lose it, we can't afford to discourage participation in football, because we won't have a football team. I mean,
Right.
if you start
Right.
charging $800 to play football, instead of having 42 kids, you're gonna have 21 kids, and that's the problem with those things.
Same
I
thing with
know.
And I
hockey.
think that I think we have to absorb
Right,
some of that through our
I
budget.
agree.
When
And
Hamil-
those programs do generate fees.
Right.
And not all programs do as well, so you have
Hamilton
to
went
offset.
to that model and they eliminated their freshman program the next year.
And they
Because
lost
did-
their hockey.
They lost it, and now in a co-op hockey team
Yeah,
with, I
which
think,
they-
Rockport, Salem, right. And, if we eliminate freshman sports, you eliminate opportunities for a lot of kids, because then about 3 kids make the JV team, and that's it, everybody else is done.
It's like eliminating music.
Right,
You're gonna pick up
exactly.
and have a band.
Right.
One other quick point, if I may. There was, I don't know if it was lost at the beginning, but there is an $8,600 cut to the athletic budget.
Yes,
That's part
the
of the plan.
difference cuts,
Right.
yes.
So the cuts that Mr. Bowers spoke of earlier, I think are strewn across the entire budget in an equalized fashion.
Mhm. And we'll get an update on those through the subcommittees.
The other thing we have in here, there's also a proposal for an increase in the activity fee.
Well, I
We-
put it there, we talked about it, and I think that when you add up the three, the increase in the athletic user fee, the 5% reduction, and the offset from revolving, brings it pretty close to the 50,000 that we need.
So we don't need to increase the
No,
activity
I think
fee,
we
right?
talked about it,
Yeah.
but decided that we would stay with the current fee, which is $125.
Well, Bill pointed out that the extracurricular activities are self-supporting.
Right, they're
and
pretty much
anything more
self-supporting right
would
now
be
anyway.
Right.
profiting. We don't
Right.
do that. So does anyone have any other questions? Mr. Jones? Does anyone want to make a motion on the recommendation for increase?
I'll reluctantly make a motion that we increase the fee for the second sport to $200, and that we increase the family cap from $1,100 to $1,200 for the 2009-2010 year, but that we also revisit the fee schedule at the end of the next school year.
Since I'm on the subcommittee, I'll reluctantly second it.
Half-heartedly.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
4-1. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thanks,
Dave,
David.
we appreciate you trying to economize, and
Yes.
we know how hard it is, so thank you.
Have a nice summer putting your schedules together.
I'll talk to you, Dave, about that other thing.
Next on the agenda is the Care Leaders Program.
Actually, Mrs. Spocker, there are 2 proposals, and I left one of them out. One of them, and we'll pass around the a copy. Amelia Pulver is here, and she's going to talk about
The book, the
discussion
booklet?
group, right.
Sure.
So why don't, you want
Why
to do,
don't
maybe
you invite
the
them?
peer leaders first? and-
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Dave, do you want to introduce this?
I
program?
will, and Mr. Bernard is going to be here too. Let's see if we get this.
evening, everybody.
Bye.
Do you have to sign? Make sure. This is their.
There you go. Okay, maybe you can just. Maybe as we get the PowerPoint set up, I could just, by way of introduction, Caitlin Tasha and Melissa Black are two of three students. The other one is Catherine DeGoyan, who's actually doing a community service project at the public library tonight, so she may come in a little bit as we get into the presentation. But I admittedly did not really know Caitlin and Melissa all that well, but this winter they approached me with Catherine and wanted to talk with me about an idea that they had to, I really think it was almost to serve two purposes. One was to provide them with an opportunity to demonstrate some leadership skills for the benefit of other students. And then the second purpose was, and I think this was probably more important to them, was to serve as a vehicle to assist middle school students as they work through the years of their middle schooling and also prepare to enter the high school. So they've done a very nice job over the last, I would say we've met probably 8 times or so over the last 6 months. They've been very, very diligent in preparing for you tonight a PowerPoint presentation. You all have a copy along with a summary, I think. They've done, I have to say, they've done an outstanding job. As 3 sophomore students, I've been so impressed with not only their intelligence and their drive, but just the way in which they've approached this entire project and the spirit of cooperation that they've demonstrated. They've been receptive to suggestions that I've made to them to maybe fine-tune the program, and I think that they've come up with a very, very good proposal for a peer leadership program that would consist of high school students working as mentors with middle school students, current middle school students. And I think an obvious question that may come up tonight and that they're prepared to respond to is any overlap that might exist between some of the programs that are currently in place, some of the extracurricular programs that are in place at the high school, like Student Leadership Academy, like Student Council, and what difference they see peer leadership might serve to the benefit of middle school students as well as high school students. So I'd like to turn it over to Caitlin and Melissa to speak with you about their proposal. I'm here, I wholeheartedly endorse this. They've done an outstanding job, and I think you'll be as impressed with them and their idea at the end of their presentation as I have been in the last 6 or so months working with them on this. So, you guys okay to take the lead here? Okay. I'm going to step back a little bit and let you be able to work the PowerPoint there, okay?
Thank you. So tonight we're interested in starting a peer assistance leadership program, also known as PAL. And a PAL is someone that's a buddy or a friend, someone that supports you, and we're going to be working on many levels to achieve this. And I'm Caitlin Karsha and Melissa Black. And our friend Catherine is not able to be here. So teens exhibit an array of social, intellectual, and psychological changes between the ages of 11 and 14, and having experienced these changes ourselves, we are willing to offer assistance to this tough period of growth.
There's some basic facts that we feel like we should address. That 1 in 5 teenagers have gone through an emotional or behavioral or mental issue, and 2/3 of them never seek treatment for that. We feel like we should offer sort of like a preventative measure for it if we address that now while they're still in middle school. Half of all Americans know someone personally who has had an eating disorder, and we feel like that's kind of a big number, that you actually know someone that well and they have such self-esteem issues. So we figure if we could kind of enforce positive thinking while they're still I don't know, it's impressionable, I guess. We figure that could really help later on in life. Members of PAL would not be expected to act as therapists. We realize that would be kind of a lot to take on, and we're not properly trained to do that. So instead, we figured we can enforce positive thinking and direct them to healthy alternatives for dealing with their problems. We can give them like ways to talk to professionals. We would be mentoring and tutoring them if they wanted to be. We would have a web link that would give them like the kind of like links to get help if they wanted it. And we would sponsor fun and informational days that would get our messages across, and we could donate money to organizations that share our focus.
We would be supervised by a guidance counselor at the high school, Miss Horrigan, and she's professionally trained to deal with problems that as members we would not be able to handle. And it'd be really easy to talk to her if we felt as though one of the students we were mentoring had a problem that was too serious for us to take care of, because as high school students we're still growing and we're not trained to handle that. And for the mentoring and tutoring, as we know, middle school is a really tough time, and there's definitely a lot of middle school drama that some kids are a lot more tender to than others. And I think that even like myself, like I really would have benefited from having someone that was older and would help me, just to talk to me, just to be my friend, just was there to help me with my homework, or just say, oh, don't worry, you're gonna get through it, like I'm in high school now and look what I've done, just to like get you through the week, or just, you know, say, be a friend basically, because sometimes, you know, we don't all have friends, and I think that's one of the most important things is to have in your life, because friends are where you go and for help, and if you're not happy, then you're not going to be able to be successful or do anything productive. And members of PAL would engage in core leadership training run by Deb and Dana Help, and they work with SLAM as well. I'm in SLAM, it's a Student Leadership Academy and Mentoring Program, and it's basically a workshop of ways to help adjust to different types of behaviors and situations. And I found it really beneficial this year to go through to learn about helping to deal with people, because I mentored freshmen this year, and it definitely gives you a better outlook on how to approach them and definitely talk to them. And a group of middle school students would be organized by the middle school guidance counselors. We talked to them actually a while ago, and they had a group of students this year that were eligible for mentoring and really could have benefited from it. But a couple of the other clubs in the school tried to address it, but we have a lot of other responsibilities. Like in SLAM, we mostly focus on the orientation and the fundraising for it, and just mentoring the freshmen within the high school. And it's really important that, like, you know, we also pay attention to the middle schoolers, and when we're so bogged down with other responsibilities, it's really hard to do this. And if we were to mentor, we'd be mentoring twice a month, and additional meetings could be arranged through email, because we could have emails to communicate with the students as well throughout times we didn't see them. Even if like they had a math test during the week, just to check up on them, to say, oh, how'd your math test go? Because if you show them that you really care, then they'll really take note of that, and that could really also help them, inspire them to be happy. And the mentors would not be diagnosing their mentees with problems, or they wouldn't be solving their problems. They just would basically be developing a one-on-one relationship with them, just by talking, helping them with homework, just tutoring, just getting to know each other and sharing their interests. Because, as I said before, like having a friend, having someone there for you, as even an older figure in your life, could really just give you that, you know, that like inspire you to do better things. And especially for the fact that it's a lot easier for middle school students to relate to high school students, because they're closer in age, and you know, as adults sometimes you don't remember that they went through it too. And like it's definitely easier to see high school students as, you know, oh, you recently went through it, so we can definitely make a better connection and be able to talk more and really relate to each other to really become closer friends. And issues too far, like that were too difficult for us to handle, we could talk to our supervisor, as I said before, because she would know like what the right procedure was to do, because we would not be able to handle that. And we're just basically, we want to be influential on them in a positive way as friends, and we really want to provide them with information and ways to get help, but we're not going to be